the polls are telling you the kind of concerns people have, and about the health care bill, but it's only going to get worse, by the way, after that. I saw a tape this morning of the president when he was a candidate, Obama, in 2007, sitting in front of the SEIU union saying that that we, to get this single-payer system, we would have to have a period of transition before we got there. I'm sure that's going to light things up.
Well, I mean, but does this give hope? I mean, and it seemed the momentum was moving back to the Democrats just prior to this recess, but are these town halls going to scare the Blue Dogs back into, away from being the lapdogs that they've been?
I certainly hope so. I mean, a lot of these Blue Dog Democrats were specifically chosen by Rahm Emanuel and Chuck Schumer as the thin edge of the wedge, the conservative Democrats that none of the other Democrats really like, but they figured these would at least get somebody with a D after his name. And an awful lot of them won very narrow elections where Republicans had won generally more overwhelming elections in the prior few cycles. And just generally, whether they're Blue Dog Democrats or left-wing loon Democrats, I am very heartened at how Americans are reacting to this. It's kind of funny that they're taking this. I mean, it's clever, actually. They're taking this tact of congressmen and senators not reading legislation. I worked for the Senate. I assume Pat knows this as well. But it's almost unheard of for senators and representatives to read legislation. What's clever about this is normally, I mean, if Congress were doing what it is constitutionally permitted to do, then it wouldn't be that big a deal because you're often changing something within a law that already exists. It's sort of complicated as long as the senator knows basically where it's going. But here you are talking about a massive takeover of a major and rather important industry in America with all the lobbying groups getting in and making sure that marriage counseling will be covered under any health care bill and abortions will be covered under any health care bill. So this really is a Frankenstein monster of lobbyists and special interests. In this case, if the way to express that is to say you got to read the bill, it serves senators and congressmen right.
Well, let me just say, too, though, that about the Blue Dogs, let's remember that the president has a problem. Every time he pushes one side down, the other one pops up. The progressives, there are many members in Congress who legitimately and strongly believe in a single-payer system. They are, they're buying the option is the best they can hope for at this point. And if he thinks that they're going to accept something less than that. And this is the problem. You can't satisfy, I don't know how you satisfy both wings. If you tell the Blue Dogs you won't, you'll go for cooperatives. On the other hand, there are many of the more liberal members who are going to vote against the bill. Unless they can beat him I guess they assume that they'll have to vote because they're for Obama, but I think they've got a problem. Many of them taking a pledge that they won't vote for a bill without a public option. So I think this thing, look, I think the polls have already said it. The more people pay attention, I was looking at the Pew numbers, the more attention people pay to this bill, independents who have paid a lot of attention to this bill, 77% are against it. This is their problem with this. And I don't think it's going to get better.
I'd like to ask you, Pat, if you don't mind me cutting in, Sean.
You want to ask him who he voted for president while you're at it? Because he still won't tell us. But go ahead.
Both Republicans and Democrats keep saying that Obama has got to get this through because otherwise he'll be adjudged a failure. And, well, he won't have gotten this through, and you're right, the progressives will be upset with him. But really the best thing that ever happened to Bill Clinton was, A, not getting health care through, B, getting a Republican Congress in 1994. That saved his presidency. And I mean, who is going to remember what passed and what didn't pass? If Republicans get in and start cutting taxes and the economy starts percolating, just like Clinton, Obama will be able to sit back and claim credit for Republican policies.
Well, I think that, you're right, Ann. I mean, I don't think that the defeat of this means decides his fate one way or the other, although they will tell people it does. I mean, the president has told the Blue Dogs that you're taking down my presidency. But the point is, a lot depends on what happens with everything depends on what happens with the economy. although I got to say, for this, Sean, when I did the program last week with Doug Schoen, who's a Democrat, who was agreeing with me on the analysis, somebody did a blog, apparently, because it was sent to me, attacking me as a Fox, F-A-U-X, I guess meaning Fox News, a Democrat who doesn't, I guess for those people who are on the Kool-Aid and can't think for themselves as Americans, let me say this. I still believe in the party of the common man. This is the one which is not, for the second time in a row, starting with AIG bonuses, it was not the administration. It was not the government, the federal government, that told us that the 9 banks that got $100 billion, that 5,000 of their executives got $1 million bonuses or more with our money. It was that good Democrat Andrew Cuomo. So the point is that they have got a lot of problems, but they think if Rahm Emanuel believes that the victory is victory no matter what, I think that's wrong too. I mean, the fact of the matter is, it's the president's credibility that is at stake.
Well, let me stop you right there. Let's deal with the president's credibility, because the president said at length, let's go back and we'll do a little bit of a montage here, a series of instances where the anointed one promised not to raise taxes on the middle class.
In an economy like this, the last thing we should do is raise taxes on the middle class.
Barack Obama, a plan that cuts taxes for middle-class families.
Changes giving tax breaks to middle-class families.
I would not increase taxes for middle-class Americans.
Jumpstart our economy with a middle-class tax cut.
And what I've said is I will institute a middle-class tax cut.
If you make less than $250,000 a year, you won't see your taxes raised 1 penny under my plan. If you are a family making less than $250,000, my plan will not raise your taxes.
I'll cut taxes for small and startup businesses that are the backbone of our economy. If you have a job, pay taxes, and make less than $200,000 a year, you'll get a tax cut. In fact, I want to provide a tax cut for people who are making $75,000 a year or less.
Here's what I believe we need to do. Reform our tax system to give a $1,000 tax break to the middle class. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
All right, there it is. Now this weekend, tax cheat Tim Geithner is now saying they cannot rule higher taxes. Here's what he said.
The president has said the taxes won't go up for any Americans earning under $250,000, but it doesn't appear he's going to be able to keep that promise if you're going to bring the deficits down.
People have to understand we have to bring those deficits down.
So revenues are on the table as well.
Again, we're not at the point yet where we're going to make a judgment about what it's going to take. But
you're not ruling it out. You can't rule it out.
Well, I think that what the country needs to do is understand we're going to have to do what it takes. We're going to do what's necessary.
Do what it takes, do what's necessary. So, we seem to be backing off quickly. Here's Larry Summers on Face the Nation.
You don't see another round of tax increases coming.
Tax increases, look, let's understand where we've been. We're going to keep working to strengthen the foundation,
the foundation for middle income
of this economy. There's a lot that can happen over time. So never a good idea to absolutely rule things out no matter what.
What do you take on that, Ann Coulter? Either they're setting Obama to come out and say, no, I am going to keep my promise, or they're really thinking about raising taxes, which is probably the latter.
Well, first of all, I want to point out to all of your listeners, please listen to Republicans in the future. We warned you of this. It's not as if the federal government is out there, holding bake sales and car washes. The money that it has, it gets from taxes. It can't keep spending without raising taxes. And the Democrats always swear they're going to raise taxes only on the rich, only on the rich. It can't be done. You already have the top 1% supplying about 40% of government revenues. If you tax the top 1%, there aren't enough of them. If you take away all of their money, it isn't enough to fund trillion-dollar programs. Point two, even if somehow the Obama administration or any Democrat administration could avoid directly increasing the income tax of the middle class, the middle class is going to be taxed because the federal government is going to start printing money, so all the money the middle class and lower class and everybody has in your bank accounts is suddenly worth a lot less money. It's worth a lot less with inflation. Plus, there are indirect forms of taxation. You lose your job because the rich people who are handing out jobs or hiring people aren't going to be able to hire as many people because so much of their money is going to the federal government rather to hiring new employees. There are other ways, indirect ways, the government inevitably will raise taxes on the middle class as long as spending goes up. Anyone who doesn't work for the government understands this.
Well, they can't stop themselves. I mean, the Congress, the Democrats, Republicans, it took them an hour.
Pat, this is your party, for crying out loud.
Yeah. No. I'm the youngest man on Richard Nixon's enemies list for that bozo who wanted to know my credentials. But they all did. No, Republicans joined in it too in the House. Took them an hour to vote another $2 billion for the Great Cheese Program and called the car thing. Ann's right about one thing. Let me tell you what. They're going to. You can only print so much money.
Right.
They did not do very well with the auctions last week. Consumer confidence was plunging. So the problem is, in having promised the Chinese that we would do something about the deficit, sooner or later we are going to run into ourselves. People are going to pay taxes.
All right, I got to run very quickly. What is the political impact? 10 seconds each. Coulter, what is the political impact? Is this a George Herbert Walker Bush moment? Read my lips. No new taxes?
I think it's bigger than that. It's more than Republicans do not like their taxes being raised and don't like being lied to, like with the first Bush. But here it's everything. It's GM. It's the endless stimuluses. It's
all cumulative.
Flunkers. It's the socialist takeover of healthcare. It's the whole caboose.
All right, we got to run.